Got a new project coming out on July 11th. Can you tell a little
Yes,
bit about the Black and how this project came across your desk?
yes. Mr. Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black comes out July 11th, Amazon Prime, and it's an emotional roller coaster. You know, you're in for a nice ride here. It's a film dealing with divorce. You know, on how two different families from both sides of the tracks juggle it and deal with it. You know, with the family dynamics, but it also shows a film of that divorce is not the end all be all. You know, you still have a chance to get back on track, especially coming from like the women's side, and even from my side. It shows you that the future's bright and you can turn any situation around. And that's what this movie shows. And my character Dallas, he's he's a flawed human being. But it's more than just being flawed or him, dealing with like, his anger issues or his aggression. He has a heart as well. And that's what this
Mm,
character will show at some points in the film, that he comes from a childhood where he had some trauma in his life that he never, you know, healed. So when you don't do that, it can carry on into your adult lives and all your relationships. And he didn't know how to, you know, get that, like, process that out. So it's important that you do get that out just when
mhm.
someone's watching this, so it doesn't affect your relationships. But it just shows that he's a real person. We don't have it all figured out, and he shouldn't be always stuck into like your mistakes in life, because you always have another chance, and that's what this movie shows you. Just you have another chance as long as you keep going.
In addition to the incredible work that you've done on screen, you've also produced in the past. How have those experiences behind the camera influenced the way that you approach your work on screen and interpret scripts and characters like this?
Well, producing is, like I say, I'm just now getting into producing, but I've also been like more of like active now. Before I was more of like inactive producing, but I would also help put projects together, not get credit for, acting talent, help out with picking cameras, just a lot. And that's producing, just making it happen. But I've learned the behind the scenes that are, for a long time as well. And I feel like knowing that it allows me to be a better artist as well, when the camera's rolling. So I just use everything from the experiences of the past films that I've been a part of, and building my company, Hardcore Films, in the future. I'm more prepared, and I
Mm.
know way more than I did then, just with the experience. And I'm looking forward to putting that into my film company and just building something great moving forward. So yeah.
Testament to your gifts as a storyteller. And you've said in the past that Dallas is so different from who you are as a person. As an actor, how did you find your way into this character and bring that rawness? And when you're playing somebody like Dallas, what is that decompression process like after a day of filming?
A lot of rest. Get some sleep and study my lines. Like, I have a process. Like, I break down every scene. Like, when I'm done, I go right like to my room. I chill for a little bit, and then I get on with my acting coach and break down the next day. So I don't have too much time to process what I just did. I kind of flush it and put it behind me and start a new day. And I kind of make every day when I'm filming like an individual movie. That's how I do it. So if I have like all these scenes, I make each individual scene a movie and make the
Mm,
most out of it. And that's how I prepare. I don't prepare like one big. I take it in pieces. That's my process, and I put all I have into it. I'm a passionate actor. I'm an emotional actor. I'm raw. I don't really have of a big training style. I just want to tell the truth when I'm acting and put those raw emotions behind everything I'm doing, and hopefully people enjoy what I'm doing. So so far so good. So
yeah.
far so good. I'm doing my best.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And there's so much trust that's needed between you and Megan and the place in which your characters are. How did you build that bond so quickly?
I've known Meg for about 20 years now, 20 plus years actually. We actually did a small independent film years ago. We didn't have no scenes together, but I've known her for a while, her family. And Megan has always been someone that I've, kind of looked up into, like in the industry, knowing how her longevity and knowing, her body of work as well. And then for us to come, this full circle and work together at this time and this moment, it was only right. And we have a great shorthand. We got great chemistry, when we're not working, and chemistry when we're working. So that just kind of bled into filming. And she's a supportive actress who's there for you in the scene. So it makes it even easier for me to give that back and forth dialogue, and just where it makes it really authentic. So
Community is such a running theme throughout this film. Who have been the people in your own life who've held space for you in a similar way and impacted your journey as a storyteller and an artist?
the people, I would say, my children, my son's 13, my daughter's 6, and they give me a lot of inspiration, and they impact my life, because every how I move today is because of my kids, because they need their father. So I have to be a great example, a great role model, and I have to be, something they could, model their lives after. They have to look up to me. So I would say my children, my dad, um, my cousins, my relatives, everybody. They keep me on track, and they tell me all the time how proud they are of me, and that makes me want to continue doing what I'm doing. You know.
Mm, yeah, great answer. I know Tyler Perry has such a unique style to filming where you often only get one or two takes. How did that environment push you creatively, and what was it like getting to collaborate with him on this project?
Wow, I would say Mr. Perry's process is, it is intense for most actors, because you can shoot a whole movie in probably a few days, or, but it's like, I love the process. Me coming from like that guerrilla style of filmmaking, you
Hmm.
don't have time to think. You just have to be and act. And I was able to operate off of instinct, and I love that, because everything is natural and it's real, it's authentic, and you're just giving your best. You're not thinking about too much, and that's how it is. So I love this type of act directing style from Mr. Perry. I can adapt to either style, because there's some films you do for like 3 or 4 months, 5 months, and there's a lot of downtime between scenes. There's a lot of downtime, and sometimes you can lose the energy in that,
Yeah.
that certain thing where, you have more of a freedom creatively, you know, and so you don't know how that can translate into camera. But with Mr. Perry, it's really not, it's there, but it's also, you're moving. You're shooting 10 to 12 film scenes a day. That's a lot. And they're still of quality, they still look great, but it keeps me on my toes, where I gotta move. And I'm used to moving and doing, and
Yeah.
whatever you need. Like, so that process has been great. I loved it, and it showed on the screen, and I can't wait to show the world the performance. So
Definitely. I think it's one of the most highly anticipated films of the summer. And it's so funny with
yeah,
like acting, you're doing so many repetitions, but often directors will use that first take. So credit to Tyler for that as well.
yeah,
Outside of,
one or two
yeah.
takes, and I've learned. Like I said, I worked with Clint Eastwood multiple times. With Clint Eastwood, and he was one take, maybe shoot a rehearsal. So I come from knowing that process as well, of dealing with a great filmmaker, and then now dealing with Tyler, who's a great filmmaker. I was prepared for it. I was prepared for it. So yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I'll do it again. I'll do it again for sure.
Credit to your instincts. Outside of this project, you're also one of the stars of All American Homecoming, and the final
Yes.
season is airing this July. What can you tease about what's ahead? And when you look back at this experience, what will you remember most?
The camaraderie between the cast, the creators. We were a great, tight knit family over there. And like I say, you hear final season, which is, I feel, I do feel we had more to go, and you never know.
Hmm.
So I kind of don't be like saying it's the final, because you never know how it goes. The people love the show, and they're asking me and all day, like, what happened? And it's, I can just do and control what I can. But hopefully, maybe, who knows? People watch and support July 8th. Who knows? Maybe we can keep it going. But no, I had a great time on the show. I was able to impact people's lives. I get a lot of people and kids, teenagers, like Coach Marcus is like my father. And when I hear that, I feel like I'm doing my job. For to hear that it's possibly impacting someone's life in a great direction. And I will cherish that moment that I had on All American Homecoming, and know that the show will live on, because it goes to Netflix, and shows grow.
Yeah.
when they're not around anymore. They just grow, you know, and get their own little following or group, you know, behind it. So, you know, it was a great time. I had a great time. Shout out to my showrunner NK, you know, who hired me and she believed in me with this character. So yeah, good times.